paranormal comma cuss comma discuss. Their formation of stars. I was like, is that a UFO? Tell me it's UFO.
Move.
I'm like,
move.
I was like, the one time I don't have my phone on me. No. And I watch, and I'm squinting, and I'm squinting. I'm like, no, they twinkled. That's a star. All right, poop. Let's go. Poop already. Back to watching the dog run around. But yeah, I often look up, especially since we started the podcast. But here on the Eastern Shore, like I know the population density that you have over there, you are very, very, very landlocked, as opposed to me. A half mile this way is the ocean. Well, bay side of the ocean, but still, you're not going to get any light pollution. I couldn't tell you off the top of my head how many people live in town, but it's not many. My town is so small that off at a distance, you will not see the light from my town when you're approaching it in the middle of the night. But, anywho, I look up a lot, but pushing the point forward was you don't often look up because you're in the city and you know there's nothing to look at.
I think they know how hard it is to replace a planet.
Yeah.
So, you know,
Absolutely.
they're like, hey, guys, maybe chill a little. You don't have another one.
X-nay with the nuclear nay.
Yeah, we have lots of planets. You guys don't have another planet. You should chill out.
Yeah. Chill out with the nuclear
We can just
stuff.
leave. You guys can't.
Yeah. Yeah, you can.
And we're not and you're not getting on our ship.
Yeah, you see the laugh
the
track.
soundboard's so much better. Yes.
It's so much better. Hey, little puppy. Oh, who's coming to join us? Got a tiny basil. Hello. Oh, okay. He's come to see the internet. Hello, internet.
I always like to remind Paul when Jack licks his face, I'm like, you know, he also uses that thing as toilet paper.
Yes. This guy, he's gift for getting the tongue right up the nose. Oh, can you hear him sniffing?
Yes, I could, actually.
All right, buddy. Here you go. Don't get tangled, please. You're attached. Okay, thank you. The UN general saw what happened. His bodyguard saw what happened. The UN general did not disclose that he saw anything because the United States government, as well as the UN, was in cahoots with the Greys to keep their mouths shut. We were getting technology from the Greys, and the trade-off was we would keep our mouths shut.
It's like Fight Club.
Exactly.
First rule of knowing the Greys. First rule of knowing about Greys is you don't talk about the Greys.
Yes. It's funny you say that because I just listened to the audiobook a couple days ago.
A Fight Club?
Yeah.
That's funny.
It's good.
It's funny.
It's really good.
It's a good book.
It's great. I love Chuck Palahniuk. I've listened to all of his books.
He's like, but nobody's gonna want it because in the end you're destroying an entire industry. So you're asking that industry to fund the thing that's gonna destroy them. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
So after 2 years of that, I dumped that degree and moved into fine arts. That's how I became an artist.
And now you're a podcaster.
Yes. So yeah, I wanted to be a doctor. I wanted to be a researcher and a doctor. That was chemistry was my thing. Chemistry and pharmacology was my thing. Still a huge amount of interest in it. Yeah, surprise. So I took it up as a hobby instead. Became a walking science lab instead of working in one.
Yeah. Independent studies.
Yes, I am my own independent study.
Yeah, that's right. But yeah, it's so like this was reported on USA Today. This was reported in the New York Times. Mm-hmm. But one thing when my wife moved in, she started bringing her things. Part of the adventure of a couple moving in together is you get to see all of their stuff, right? And the one thing that surprised me the most is she has Gandalf's staff.
Oh, that's cool.
Like full-size staff.
picture like that, how would it ever die?
And this monster starts running right at me.
Annihilated by nuclear bombs.
Beast is not dead. I put 4 bullets into him.
Oh, you're crazy.
But I saw that monster too. All I want is for someone to believe me.
Contaminated.
Face. Horrible. Look like it would scare you to death.
All right, let's get to work.
And she was like, "Oh no, honey, don't do that. That dog's working."
Yeah.
I was like, "Thank you, thank you. Yes, he's working. Thank you."
Yes. That's precisely what you wanted, right?
That's exactly what I was going for. Yeah, I didn't want to have to put like big like red "Do Not Pet" signs on him. Like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Like an actual, like a service animal vest.
yeah, because
You
it
know.
looks dorky, and I don't want to advertise that I need a service animal. You know, it's
Yeah.
that's like somebody asked me once when I brought him into a coffee shop. They're like, "Is he a service animal?" I was like, "Well, first of all, you're not supposed to ask people who need service animals whether or not they have a service animal. First of all,
Yeah.
that's like asking somebody, "Is that a real wheelchair?" Like, you're not, you're not supposed to do that. Just like you can't, people can't ask you what kind of medications you're taking and stuff like that. But I told the lady, I was like, "Okay, so here's the thing. I don't have a big blue and yellow vest on him because, like, if you were missing your leg, would you want to have to wear a sign that says I only have one leg?"
Yeah.
She's like, "Well, no." I was like, "Okay, so when I have to put a service vest on him, if I just walk around with him on the street on his leash, then he's just my dog. I'm not advertising to everybody that walks by that I have, that I have a problem, right? So when I come in with him and you see how he behaves and you see that he follows, hand commands and I don't say anything out loud, I mean, can you not just maybe assume, he's on the job?"
Mhm.
So she was like, "Oh," I was like, "Yeah, I mean, I don't wear it because it's not like I don't want to just have to put it on him just before I bring him in here, and I don't want to walk around with him with the, service dog vest on. I just don't like it."
Yeah, I get it. I get you, man. I get.
Be nice to
I
people
get it.
with dogs.
That's
If they're
right.
well trained and they're in public, you don't need to know whether or not they're working.
I need to check my lens. Oh, hold on. Narrow. That's what I wanted. A little bit better. I felt like I was like way back here. So, hello, friends. Welcome in.
Hello,
Season
everyone.
2, episode 12, Beyond the Shadows podcast. We are your intrepid, quote unquote, paranormal investigators. I am Victus,
I'm Aeon.
and
Hello, everyone.
yes, hello, greetings and salutations. We've got a doozy this week. Freaking doozy. You know how much shit I had to wade through to put together a coherent episode on this subject?
Really?
Because
Why is that?
there's so much, like so much about this that
Bad stuff
and
or
yes, what we're talking about tonight, which
no? I
is
mean like bad info.
no, it was just there's just so much information. Period.
Oh, okay.
Um, I started off with my normal script writing methods, and it just overwhelmed me. Like I said, give me a 4-page breakdown. Hit me with the highlights, and it gave me 11 pages.
Oh.
So I was like, well, can't do that.
At least there's stuff to find.
Geez, there's so many. And I was like, cool, let me get some pictures together for the episode. And there's so many pictures because there's hundreds of these glyphs in the desert,
Mm-hmm.
and they're constantly finding new ones. Like there's like, I think I looked them up maybe a year ago, from an episode of Ancient Aliens I watched. And from the time a year ago when I looked it up to this week when I did my research, they've discovered more.
Well, it is a heavily looked into thing. Partly because they can't be ignored because of their size.
Right.
Right. And global surveying is much better than it was. So you don't
Correct.
just have to fly over with a plane and have the limit up because it's already out in the middle of nowhere. Right. So by the time you fly there, and then you have your time to like circuit around, right? It's not the
Mhm.
most efficient way to do a survey, but now we have, you know, the full globe is covered by photography satellite. You know, we
Yeah.
have it on you have it on your phone. So everybody can look.
Yeah, so I will say I do have a bunch of pictures tonight.
Good.
I honestly got tired of clicking, download, move it to the folder, download, move it to the folder. So we might just at some point just pull up Chrome and just thumb through them and see what's going on because there's so many. I had a hard time choosing, but I will say there's a lot of the photos. When you look at them, you're like, oh well, this isn't real. These aren't the real Nazca lines because these are solid lines. You know what people did was, is they're finding like the faint impressions of what's left of the designs, and somebody's gone through and drawn over them. So a lot of them are
Okay.
they're gonna look fake, but it's because almost every single one out there has been superimposed with the drawing, so you can see what's actually there. We
Okay.
do have
That makes
do have a
sense.
do have a couple that are stock photos that have no editing to them.
Okay.
So
Yeah, I think the most compelling stuff that I saw were some of the flyovers that some of the TV shows have
yeah,
done. You know, because they're not edited in those. They're
right,
just flying over them. But I'm sure we'll hit some of the ones that they always cover because they're some of the easiest to see without
yeah,
editing, and therefore ended up being the most famous.
yeah. You're gonna see a lot of the stuff that was probably in history books when we were in kids, or when
Yeah,
we were in school. We were
yeah.
kid when we were in kids. Yes, that's what
When
I
we
said.
were still in kids.
Yes.
God
I'm
damn.
sorry. I may or may not be tired this evening. It's been a long work week, man. Very long work week. Trying to get pumped here. Get pumped. Get yeah,
Energy,
energy.
energy,
Energy. Let me
energy.
hold on, one more. Energy. Um, so I want to say, so the second tablet was a total fail with the soundboard. Honestly, oh goodness, I need to get that. I have one new sound, but I only put it on the Android tablet. So,
Of course. How
so if
old
you
is
get,
that tablet? Do you think that might be the sound issue?
no, this is 2 years old.
Oh no,
It's a
it
good,
shouldn't be old enough.
it's still a good tablet. It's just we
Something about
see
the way it's
now.
trying to play it.
Yeah, I think I remember when I was using this last time. This is the one I had to use the ground noise isolator,
Ah, that's why.
and I am not about to go dig through my freaking
Your
piles
wire
of
bins.
cabinets back here. Yeah. Um,
I was gonna say, does anybody else just have a box of cables out there?
I have
I know I have several. Yeah, just boxes of cables. Yes, yeah,
all
and other
cables.
cables that you haven't had anything that use that in a long time, but you're like, but
Yeah.
if I need it, I'm gonna be really mad because you can't buy it anymore.
I'm not saying it's
Oh gosh. Oh gosh. I don't want you to hear it yet.
I heard part of it.
Yeah.
Oh, you found it. You
Yes.
found it.
I
Nice.
found it.
Nice.
It took some doing.
Awesome.
Okay. Okay. So it's not from Ancient Aliens.
Oh, it's not. Oh, it's just from
No.
an interview.
It's from Wolfenstein 2.
He did a voiceover on it.
No, that wasn't him.
Oh, it
I,
was
I
never him.
no. I ended up watching a small like documentary almost about it this morning, trying to figure out where this whole thing came from. And the consensus is that there's like when we think of somebody being conspiratorial about aliens, we think of
Yeah.
Nicholas Salakis. I think that's how you
Right.
pronounce him doing the aliens thing.
Right.
And he really doesn't say aliens. It's
Right.
we've just made it so like the
He's made himself synonymous with the concept in
Right.
pop culture.
So
Right.
this sound that we have here
Aliens.
Yeah.
is a
Yeah.
that's a YouTuber.
Yeah. It's not. Yeah. I didn't think that was him, but it does sound like it should be on
Right.
Ancient Aliens. But the truth is, I've only probably watched 10 episodes, maybe,
Oh, geez.
of
I've
Ancient
watched
Aliens.
every single one.
Well, because at one point they were covering stuff. I'm like, yeah, no, I've already heard about that, man. And now you guys are just doing the drama. You just mixing the drama stuff in with like a documentary I saw in the early 2000s or late 90s. Like you're
Yeah.
just recycling stuff. And then eventually, like I said, they got into the first time that I stopped watching it. The first time I watched their first episode about subterranean lizard men ruling the world, I stopped
Yeah.
watching.
So
I'm
it's
sorry,
like,
I'm biased.
so what it explained in the documentary was that it's become part of the zeitgeist, that when we think of somebody being conspiratorial with aliens, we think of Nicholas Salakis.
Right.
And
I
this
wonder if
one,
you're proud of that or disappointed.
I don't know. I really don't
But I
know.
think he wants you to take him seriously.
Yeah. I mean, you want us to take you seriously, buddy, brush your hair.
I was just gonna say, have a hairdo.
I'm
Put a hat
sorry,
on.
dude. Like I've seen pictures of him with his hair not spiked up, and I'm like, I would listen to this guy. But it's kind of
He
a
looks
character
like
at this point, right?
Yeah, he looks like he makes me think of like someone the Simpsons would have had on as like the alien guy, and of course his hair would have to be
Yeah.
just
'cause
like
it's
how
great.
stereotypical the scientist guy is, doctor or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah. Think of Doc from Back to the Future.
Yeah, or comic book guy. Like
Yeah.
they always go way over the top.
Hello. I was just saying, it's like a Babylon.
Right, right.
Push his glasses
It
on.
hooks to the flavin.
So we have become we hear conspiracy, we hear aliens, we think of aliens, we think of that guy. So
Right.
we formed an idea about this person, about this character, and that's why we think of, I'm not saying it's aliens was him. I don't know how the association from a quote from Wolfenstein 2 made its way to Ancient Aliens, but it is a good quote. And are you ready to hear it? It's got a curse word in it, but I edited it elegantly.
Elegantly.
Yes.
Okay.
You ready? Ready?
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's space aliens, right? But it goes without saying it's fucking space aliens.
That's good.
So that's the quote. That's the, yeah. Thank you.
I'm not saying it's space aliens, right? But it goes without saying it's fucking space aliens.
Yeah.
That's good. I like
Yeah.
that.
So there you go. But that's yep. That's all I got. Nothing else. Just that one new sound. See, because now I'm running out of room on the soundboard. The screen is 4 sounds away from being full, and I'm like half scrolled up between 2 rows. So I got like a half of a row at the top and a half of the row at the bottom. And I do not want to pay for the premium version of this soundboard because it's a monthly fee as opposed to the other one was just a couple dollars, and you get it. Yeah.
Everything's a subscription.
I know, it's ridiculous. A soundboard that I did all the work on is a subscription.
Yeah.
Anyway.
You have to pay to use the program.
No, the paying to use it's free, but to customize it costs money. So to get more than 24 sounds and to edit the size of the buttons, I need a premium subscription.
So like
so
that you could actually see all of them on your screen. Of course. That's how they got you. They programmed it to be annoying. And if you want it to not be annoying, you have to pay to edit away the annoyance. That's so dumb. That's so
Eventually this will probably be on my laptop.
Okay.
And it'll just dominate the entire screen. So that's fine.
Why not have another computer dedicated to a single thing?
Hey, now we're talking. Now we're talking. I could do that. I mean, we're already piping this audio through the streaming laptop, so
Yeah,
1, 2, 3, 4, 5 screens right now.
Yeah, I mean, why not?
Why not another?
The more screens you have, the more legit you are. That's
Yes.
the rule of thumb on everything. on everything.
Except I don't have like the stock bro stack of monitors in front of me with the and then the one turned sideways up at the ceiling. Yeah.
A monitor per stock that you own.
Yeah.
A monitor per company of stock that you own.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. So I'm trying to keep eventually I would like to, full studio this thing and do some amazing stuff, but this isn't making any money, so until then, you're stuck with me.
Aww.
Yeah, so I say you're stuck with me, but we're having fun. So, are you ready?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. You know, it's funny with my little bit of lag, I'm always dancing just a little off beat.
That's a good thing about having the audio at my end because I get it.
I was gonna say I tried to match it and it just makes it worse.
No, you did good. You did good. There you go. You're level now. So
There we go.
who went first last week?
I think I did. Because I was
Okay,
already unzipping it.
I am doing this week is
Oh, nice.
it's the Studio Ghibli melted coochie kopi with Louise.
Yep.
One of my new favorite shirts. Got this one for Christmas from the wifey.
I just wore my classic
Super Mario.
Super Mario
Mario.
because before there were a bunch of systems, there was just Nintendo. I mean, I say just Nintendo. In my world, there was just Nintendo. I didn't play anything else.
Yeah, right. There it is.
Right there.
That's my NES. And the Super Nintendo is right here. You see the end of it?
Yep.
Yeah, all of those are back there.
I still have my Super Nintendo. I don't have my NES anymore. It had a fatal meltdown in a thunderstorm.
I get a PS1, 2, 3, 4, PSVR, NES, Sega Dreamcast, Sega Genesis, NES. My Oculus is back there, and I also have a stack of Atari games. I don't have the Atari 2600 yet, but that's on my bucket list. So,
the only one I regret selling, the only one,
the Dreamcast.
No, Nintendo Virtual Boy.
Oh yeah, phenomenally expensive.
The seizure maker.
Mm-hmm.
With all the visual warnings all over it about looking at it for more than 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had one. It was incredibly expensive at the time. It's like, I don't know, $200. Something like that.
They're worth a lot more now.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't know that whenever I got it. I just knew that I had 5 games and hadn't played it in, a decade.
I just realized that I've been sitting here pointing to the stuff in the background. Yeah. And we were in the outro scene, and all you saw was my face. So here's what I was pointing at, everybody. All of my gaming stuff over here. Promise, I'm not crazy. I promise. I was actually pointing at.
They're really there.
They're really there. Yes, and then my stacks of vintage sound equipment. Stacks.
1,
2, 3, 4. 3 record players. 3 head
record
units.
Players.
Yeah.
What do you need 3 record players for?
What do I need all this stuff on the shelf for?
Well, I mean, that's fair.
At this point, I collect collections.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, I'm a collector of many, many things. Oh, speaking of collections, I want to show this off. My wife got this for me.
Oh, no way. Is that original?
Yes.
No. Holy crap. Hey, you want to watch something disturbing?
Oh no.
You want to watch something disturbing?
Does it have to do with the Ewoks?
It does. Long before Star Wars Clone Wars animation in the era in which the first 3 Star Wars movies came out, 4, 5, and 6, for all of
Yes.
you that don't know. There was a hand-drawn animated cartoon.
Yes, I saw it.
It is awful.
Very awful.
It's
You think
awful.
You think that's bad? You should see the original Christmas special.
They made a Christmas special? Oh, that's bad. Oh.
I mean, the worst thing about it was in between 4 and 5, and they couldn't afford to hire any of the actors from 4. So it's just a bunch of people that don't look anything like the actual. And it's like it's not so much a Christmas special, but like a play that somebody made and was just branded as Star Wars, and it is bad, bad.
Poor George Lucas.
I know.
I just wonder what was going through his mind at the time. Like, did he license it, or was it just like a throw-in from getting the first movie put out? And he was like, "Crap, I didn't see that in the contract. Dang it."
Okay, so bear with me.
I just see him watching it on TV, drinking bourbon, being like, "God damn it,"
rubbing his face.
Yeah,
rubbing his face vigorously.
yeah, it's just like, oh, no one's ever gonna take this seriously.
It was bad. It was really bad.
You know what'll
Yeah.
make it seem serious? Ewoks.
Everyone would take it seriously then, yeah.
But then people thought Ewoks were funny. He's like, I have it. Jar Jar Binks.
Yes. And he thought he regretted the Christmas special.
Right. And what's worse is everybody knows that Jar Jar Binks was his idea.
Yes.
That's the worst part. He wrote it in there before those movies were ever made.
I think originally he had a much better design. I don't think he was originally designed to be stupid. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
he was meant to be clumsy, but not stupid.
yeah, because he's supposed to be like the all luck hero, right?
Right.
Like he always gets by on dumb luck, but I don't think that he meant make Jar Jar Binks dumb. He just meant give him dumb luck. Don't make him an idiot.
Yeah. Yeah. Somebody
Make
took
him hapless.
Yeah. Somebody took the character description a little too literal. Oh,
so dumb.
dumb and lucky. I get the dumb part
it.
down. They got it all right. Yeah. So she was. My wife was out of town for some work stuff, and she stopped and was at like a swap meet or something like that, and she took a picture, sent it to me, and I was like, "Where did you find this?" And she said, $20. I said, "Do you need me to send you money right now?" Because I will. And she'd already bought me a bunch of stuff. Bless her soul, bless her heart. She knows I'm obsessed with collecting at this point. Got me a whole stack of Tokidoki Overwatch sketchbooks or journals.
Journals.
So yeah, so you know what Tokidoki is? Let's go down this rabbit hole. So Tokidoki became very, very popular for a kind of limited time. They're still a little popular, but they make these little figurines, little cutie things. Like they're just figurines. They're like these were Funko Pops before Funko Pops were Funko Pops.
Okay.
So little collectibles, things like this.
Okay.
And you know, they would branch out and did like different brandings. So like collabs, like here's some Hello Kitty Tokidoki stuff.
Okay.
Look, here's the Overwatch stuff. 2016. Discontinued in 2019. Let me show you this stack of books she found for me. They immediately came into the office. She found these for like $3 a piece, and they stopped making these in 2018.
They still wrapped?
Factory sealed, dude.
Holy crap!
And they're cool. They're cool. Got a little cool designs and stuff on them. But the kicker is they've got characters on it that have been banned from the Overwatch universe.
Oh, really?
So there's one character. His name's McCree. His name was McCree, and the original voice actor, very popular fella. Like he was the handsome gun shooter guy. And they canceled the character because the voice actor got caught up in some adult themed scandals. Let's just say that.
Oh, okay.
So they
So they
canceled
canceled his voice and then
they
canceled
canceled
the
the
character.
yeah, everything. And then they re-released him for Overwatch 2, but under a different name. I don't know what it is. I haven't played Overwatch 2 in forever, but OG Overwatch was my thing. And so if you find anything branded McCree, it's inherently valuable because they're trying to get rid of it.
Gotcha.
Um,
Okay.
so I've got a couple books here that are McCree flavored, and then she found another like a comic book. Hold on, I'll grab it. Hold on. So these are cool. I didn't even know they made these. So it's like a comic book with a Tokidoki from characters. So that's Torbjorn. This was my character. This is who I played as. But here is a McCree character with the McCree comic book.
Oh, nice.
And I was,
Huh.
she just kept sending me pictures, Overwatch stuff. And she got home. I just gave her $100 bill. I was like, here's the money I owe you. Because it was so much stuff. And I'm sorry, but you'll never find sealed stuff like this.
Mm-mm.
No,
No,
because
that's cool.
because when Overwatch 2 came out, they killed everything with the original Overwatch branding. Everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Because
of course.
they even killed the original Overwatch servers. You can, if you still have Overwatch installed in your machine, it'll load Overwatch 2.
I see.
So everything Overwatch original OG Overwatch is an inherently valuable now. So the books, I found somebody selling a set of 6 on eBay for almost $100. Well, I've got 8, so factory sealed. Yeah, I'll give him another 20 years and maybe it'll be worth 10 times that much. Maybe. But anyway, this is my obsession. This is my life.
I see.
It's not just a clever background. This is where I'm allowed to just be completely myself in this corner and I can decorate how I like. Otherwise, the entire house will be filled with RGB. And wait, I take it back. The entire house is filled with RGB. Never mind. Yeah, my wife is wonderful. She lets me decorate how I want, and we have a wonderful, nice little middle ground where I try not to do too much. I'm just waiting for the day for her to be like, "Nope, that's enough lights." So I don't know. I'm trying to keep it to the corner over here. So anyway, enough of my ramblings. The Nazca lines. We're covering the Nazca lines tonight. So I'm just gonna. My plan was to throw up a bunch of photos and see if I can get them to just like scroll through, um, like a slideshow. I don't know if it'll work.
Oh, like slideshow the album.
Yeah, it'd be.
I thought there was an option for that. Yep. Oh, with
with
oh, wow,
Zoom.
yeah,
Yeah,
what do they call
cool.
that?
Uh, just a Zoom, a generic
No, on the
Zoom.
they call it on the iPhone on editing. They call it something
I call
after
it
some
it said
after some
slideshow here.
director.
Oh, look
No,
at that
after
transition. That was nice.
after some director, they'll like zoom and pan. They call it something movement on there. I don't remember now.
Oh yeah, I have no idea. But we'll stop and look at a few of these a little more closely and pick them apart.
Cronenberg movement.
Cronenberg. I thought that was
It is.
Cronenberg. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a joke.
Yeah. There's
Rick and Morty joke.
Rick and
Dirty
gotcha.
Cronenbergs. He's just a
Speaking of-
Cronenberg.
New season coming, by the way.
Yeah, I know. I can't wait. Hey,
I'm also very excited.
Is there a reason that they canceled dude's voice, Rick's voice, off of Solar Opposites?
The same reason they canceled McCree.
Oh, really? But he's still on Rick and
Yeah.
Morty. I
So
guess because he owns it.
so Rick and Morty was not making new episodes at the time they canceled his voice actor on Solar Opposites. So
Mhm.
Solar Opposites was on the air actively making new episodes. So his stuff came up, they canceled him, but then his wife went back on her statements and said that she lied about the stuff that she was accusing him of. So, they already had the new voice actor on, and they just kept him. So it's like, all right, you're the voice of freaking what's his name, Flaxor, I forget his name.
Yeah, I hate it.
Yeah, it's not great.
I hate the British guy voice and even the way they transitioned into it. I was like, I mean that's a way to do it, but I don't like it.
Yeah,
I
was weak.
liked it because it was funny because it was a dude.
It was weak writing. It really was.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I understand why everybody was trying to do damage control.
Right. Yeah. No, I get that because you don't want to be like, oh, yeah, you don't want it to affect your show. I get it.
Right.
But yeah, I hated it.
Also, I want to say, how into Leslie Nielsen are you?
Not very.
Have you seen the Naked Gun movies?
Yeah. Yeah, I
Do you
watched
know
them a lot as a kid.
Do you know they're making a new one?
No, really? That's funny. I hope it'll actually be funny though, because I've seen a lot of these reboots of very funny, like, yeah, I mean, because that's, I mean, Naked Gun and what was the one with what was the military one that was like a spoof off of Rambo?
Oh, geez. Hot Shots.
Hot Shots. Yeah, like all
Yeah.
those 90s like spoof movies, like they still, like, for instance, they try to do them now, like Epic Movie and like all those,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
they're terrible. They're just terrible.
Yeah.
They're painful to watch. But those, they did a really good job of spoofing those movies, and there was a lot of like real sets, and I don't know, or like Airplane, right? Like same thing. Like they
Yeah.
did a great job at it, and I'm afraid of them redoing that here in this era.
Okay, so let me ease your mind a little bit. You ready for the
Yeah.
for the point that you're going to be like, oh, it's going to be great. It's a Seth MacFarlane movie.
Oh, okay, yeah, that'll be good.
So
That'll
the
be
trailer,
good.
I would love to
He
play the
knows real
trailer
comedy.
now. I would love to play the trailer on the podcast, but I can't. It is heavily copyrighted at the moment.
Yeah.
I will give you. You want a quick blow by blow? It's only like a minute long trailer.
No, I'll go pull it up. Let's.
Oh, geez,
We've already.
You've got to. You got to watch it. You got to watch it.
I'll go find it.
It's worth it. It's worth it. Just watch it. You're going to be like, yes, this is going to be great. I'm very excited. Very excited. So,
I see what you mean about some of those photos too, like that one. I've seen that before, and I didn't realize it was a drawn over
yeah.
sketch. The bird.
Yeah, a lot of these are just like clever editing where they just went in and just made like the outline a little lighter or the inside of the shape a little darker.
Yeah.
But like that is not edited.
That's not. Yeah, that's not. Yeah, and that one obviously they've drawn it.
Yeah. No, there's giant white lines on the ground.
Giant white lines in the sand. Yeah.
Yeah. That is not. That is that's actually what it looks like. See, that's
Really?
that's one unedited.
Yeah.
And there's
Yeah.
a good comparison there. So yeah,
Yeah.
we're covering the freaking Nazca lines tonight. Let's do this. This goes deep. I have like an extra page of material. I asked it to make a comparison of legitimate theories and then a list of paranormal theories behind the
Okay.
subject. So we're going to start off
Okay.
with our introduction here. Now that we've burned, geez, man, I mean, this
Almost
could
an
just
hour.
be 40 minutes again. Sorry, not sorry. I'm enjoying myself. So, in movie, my voiceover voice. Here we go. Yeah.
Smoke a cigarette.
Red leather, yellow leather, red leather, yellow leather. Thank you. Oh, wait, here you go. Red, yellow leather. Practice. See, I could have done that much faster with the other tablet. I wish I could do pictures on this stupid thing. Anyway, amidst the arid plains of southern Peru, a vast, mysterious network of geoglyphs sprawl across the desert floor. These are the Nazca Lines. Explosions, gunfire. No, there's no guns involved with this.
Michael Bay effects.
Yeah. Jeez, there's so many, practically memes at this point.
Yeah, right.
Where they catch
We live in a meme world.
Yes, it's true. I mean, like where they catch somebody doing something kind of silly and they don't think they're being watched, and then they'll catch eyes of the camera, and the second they catch eye of the camera, it cuts, and it's the first credit of a Michael Bay movie, black screen, directed by Michael Bay. And there's like this. There's this really good one of George W.
Stereotype of his own productions.
Yeah. So there's this great video of George W. at the at Trump's inauguration, and he's standing there and he's just like making these little faces like he's trying not to poop, or he has pooped and he's trying to manage it. And then he looks over and he catches the camera, and right as he makes eye contact, screen goes black. It's just directed by Michael Bay.
Also, you skimmed right over it, trying to manage it. How do you manage it?
Like, do you clench and hold it in place? Do you let it slide? I mean,
I can't breathe. Oh my god. Oh my god. Directed
or do you like act like you got a quick itch, tuck your underwear?
Crying.
Yeah, hold on. Let me.
Oh my god.
Let me real quick. So y'all can't see this screen. Let me see if I can find it now. Now I've got to find it. I got to find the George W.
I'm just there was so much packed into that statement.
Oh gosh, here it is. I think this is it. Oh, wait. Oh my gosh, go away. Go away. Geez, I got to pull this up on my other. Wow, my screen's doing some funny stuff. I think it's because this thing is running. Pause. Wow, could do so much stuff to do anything.
I mean, it's just
George
5 screens,
W.
bro.
Oh, jeez, tell me about it.
It's just 5 screens in a live production. Get your shit together.
I'm trying. All right, I'm gonna bring this up. Hopefully, there's not any copyrighted audio. I'm sure there is. Huh? What are you doing? What? You want to refresh that? Oh no. Do you still hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. I don't know what it's doing. He blinked for a second. Yeah, TikTok does not like running on desktop, does it?
No.
Okay, well, we'll have to do it. We'll have to show you another time. It's really funny. So that one was So it was the clip, but he's like looking around, and the caption said, "When you eat way too many edibles, but you still have a public appearance to make," and he's just.
I think I've seen the video. Yeah.
But yeah, it's really good. You would love it. Just Google George W. Bush Michael Bay video. That's what I did, and it's fun. It's good fun. So, anyway, one of the world's largest and most enigmatic archaeological wonders of the world, first discovered in the early 20th century. These immense drawings of animals, geometric shapes, and straight lines have puzzled scientists, archaeologists, and travelers alike. How were they made? What purpose did they serve? Were they religious symbols, astronomical markers, or messages to the gods, or even extraterrestrials? Despite decades of study Many aspects of the Nazca lines remain a mystery, fueling endless fascination and debate. This essay explores the history, characteristics, theories, and ongoing investigations surrounding Nazca lines, including both scholarly and paranormal interpretations. So it says essay because that's the best way to collate the information for a podcast is to tell it to write me an essay. What's my vibration? Oh, my phone. So some historical background was that the Nazca lines are located in the Nazca Desert, a high arid plateau stretching over 50 miles between the towns of Nazca and Palpa in South Peru. Um, the local people were likely always aware of the lines. They became global. They came to global attention in the 1920s and 30s, particularly after commercial air travel began over the region. In 1927, Peruvian archaeologist Torbio Meja Zespi. I don't. That's a new one to me. This dude's last name starts with the letter X. Made the first academic discovery of the lines while hiking through the hills. Later presenting his findings at a conference in Lima in 1939. From the ground, the geoglyphs were nearly imperceptible, but from the air, they formed stunning images: giant birds, spiders, monkeys, trees, and various abstract shapes. They were created from what they believe by the Nazca culture, a pre-Incan civilization that flourished between approximately 200 BC and 600 CE. By removing the reddish brown iron oxide coated pebbles that covered the desert surface and exposing the light colored earth beneath, the Nazca people created lines and designs that endured for centuries. The stable, dry climate, lack of wind, and the area preserved the lines remarkably well. Radiocarbon dating and archaeological excavations confirmed the Nazca's. Bless you, by the way. That was a sneeze, yes?
No, it was clearing my throat. I
Oh,
sniffed. And then I cleared my throat. It's that time of the season that you'll remember where everything's coated in yellow around
yep.
here. Yeah,
My
it's that
little
season.
blue car is green outside right now.
Yeah, it's that.
So ultimately, they're giving the Nazca culture the credit for building these. So they're not
Because they were active at the same time as when they believe that these were created.
right. I just want this to set in for you. So we know the Americas are 200 plus years old. What, but like 250, 225 right now.
You mean the country?
Yes.
Yes, us
1887.
as a country, yes.
This,
I believe the Americas are older, but yes.
yeah. 200 BE or BC to 600 CE. 800 years this culture's thrived.
Mm-hmm.
So
makes sense.
what, 3 times longer than America's been a country?
I mean, hell, the Egyptians are at least the folks that we like ancient Egyptians, right? Folks that built
Yeah.
monuments and so on. It was over 3,000 years.
Mm-hmm.
It's a dynasty that lasted over 3,000 years. I mean, you have old, middle, and new dynasty, but still,
Right.
it was an unbroken chain for like 3,000 years. Just
Yeah.
ridiculous.
Just wild to me because we never really put it into what's the word I'm looking for? We don't ever put it into like aspect of how long we've been a country
Right.
compared to how long these civilizations they've came, peaked, crashed, disappeared, and and we've not even. What does that tell you about the country? Where are we going? 600 years, so we're about halfway through, and
It's amazing what a information transfer rate will do to a culture.
oh right. So so yeah, like they said, these aren't lines like we are thinking about lines. So what it is they've got rust colored desert, so it's a red desert like you see in this picture here, and all they're doing is moving the rocks away and exposing the white desert ground beneath. And that's all it is. And I can't even imagine how long it took to make one of these designs. I think there's
Yeah,
a
let
few of
alone
them
that giant runway.
that stretches miles and miles, dead
And
perfectly straight lines.
it's got to be super wide. I mean, it looks really
Yeah.
wide.
Yeah, like how long do you think it took them to
Clear all that? Yeah. Yeah, look
Yeah,
at that.
I mean,
Yeah. That's wild. That's just wild.
where did the rocks go?
And you have to be like, well, I mean, I'm sure we'll get into it, but you have to think that there's a purpose. I mean,
Yeah, that's
calories
why we're
weren't free. So,
right.
I
Oh
mean,
yeah, we'll
now
get
we
into
base
it.
everything based off a budget, but then it would have been calories. Your work
Right,
was
right.
the value. So doing this versus like growing food or, making things or making shelter, it's a trade-off. So what was the trade-off for?
Especially this was the desert. Let's pull up I want to pull up Google Maps and I want to see precisely where this is. Uh Nazca, Peru. Oh, Nazca Lines. There we go. Let's do satellite. There we go. Yeah, nothing in this
Yeah.
area.
And it's in
Hundreds of
Peru?
miles. Yes.
Oh, okay.
Hmm.
And you can see some of the lines even.
Yeah. Yeah, look, there's even so these lines, I've heard a good reason for these lines, the straight lines that you see here.
Uh-huh.
It might come up in research later, but
Space cattle.
look,
They only
look at
walk
all,
in straight lines.
oh yeah, 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 yeah.
And then you have to pick them up and turn them around, and then they walk a straight line that way. That's the real reason aliens are picking up cattle all the time. They don't understand. They're trying to engineer cattle that meander.
Okay, look, there you go. Whoop.
Yep.
Still,
That's a good picture. Holy
it's
crap.
still large, but not quite in the grand scheme of things. Oh
No,
gosh,
but I mean,
look at the
it's really
runway
big.
things.
Yeah. So that's the
Wow.
head of so that other picture we're looking from the head of it and then looking
Yeah.
down the skinny line coming
Yeah.
off the tip of it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh,
Dude.
look, it's no. Oh
It's
no,
funny, it looks exactly like an airport.
yeah. We will look. Here's another one. Geez, they're everywhere. So there's more. Geez.
Yep.
Yeah. So some of these are, yeah, like some of these are the lines, but there's other ones that are just weird stray lines, and
Mm-hmm.
they've just recently come up with why is that one spot red? Dun dun.
Mm.
I've played enough RPGs to know that that's where the treasure's hidden.
Yes.
Yeah, they're all over the place. Like what?
Wow, look at that.
Oh,
That's
what's
really
that
good.
one? Oh, the monkey.
Oh, that's really good too.
Look, more just weird lines, almost like agriculture, right?
Yeah, except
Nothing
on
would
the
grow here.
scale of things. Yeah, well, and on the scale of things, those lines are way too far apart for anything agriculture. I mean, yeah.
It's weird that we're getting weird color zones here, variations from the satellite images.
Yeah, it depends on. So I've noticed this in places from my looking at other stuff on maps, and I think it's different times of day because they don't just do a routine scan of the area. Because
Yeah,
if cloud cover comes over, they stop photographing that area
yeah,
and move on to another section. So then they come back and finish it later, and you get because the light never quite hits it just exactly the same. You get a
yeah.
weird gridding.
So the point of your calorie thing, these guys are out here building hundreds of feet, if not miles long designs in the middle of the desert with nothing around.
Nothing
mean,
around rock.
I mean,
There's rocks.
even against the coast, it's just desert next to the coast.
Yeah. Yep.
So, there's a little vein of green here, but that's not enough to sustain people. Yeah, you got to get way over here before things start to turn habitable. That's
Yeah,
so crazy.
that whole western coast of South America along the Andes is pretty on the western side of the Andes is man, it's just a harsh, inhospitable environment.
Yeah, very arid. It's the elevation, right? That makes it so dry.
Yeah, it's really the way the weather patterns move across there mixed with the steep incline of the terrain right there. Right.
Right.
So you have once it hits the mountain range, right, you get a spiraling of currents and you get moisture, right? But all the way
Right.
up, it's dry air. So coming off, coming up against the landform. So were the mountains not there, it'd look incredibly different. But
Right.
there they be.
There be they.
There be they.
There be they. All right, so there are over 800 straight lines, 300 geometric figures, and 70 biomorphic designs among the Nazca lines. Astronomical numbers. Huge.
Especially considering how big they are. It's just a lot of
Absolutely.
time.
But these shapes include animals such as hummingbirds, condor, whale, a dog, and humanoid figures, spirals, zigzags, trapezoids. These geoglyphs vary in complexity, with some appearing to have been drawn in a single continuous line. The precision and scale of these geoglyphs are extraordinary, especially considering the limited tools and technology available to the Nazca people. These lines were created using simple tools and surveying techniques. Archaeologists have found wooden stakes at the ends of some of the lines, suggesting that they used them as for a basic system of ropes and straight lines to create accurate, large-scale drawings. Despite the simplicity, the mathematical and artistic accuracy achieved here is astonishing. So, we're going to jump right into conventional theories and interpretations. The first and most prominent one would be religious and ritualistic purposes. Anthropologist Paul Kosak, I think that's how you pronounce his name, often called the father of the Nazca lines, was one of the first outsiders to seriously study them. And in 1941, while flying over the lines, he noticed that one aligned perfectly with the setting sun during the winter solstice. Kosak, along with his assistant, Maria Ricci, theorized that the lines functioned as a massive astronomical calendar. Ricci, a German mathematician and archaeologist, dedicated over 40 years to studying and preserving the Nazca lines. She wrote a book called The Mystery on the Desert in 1949, which brought international attention to the geoglyphs. The second most prominent is astronomical alignments. While some lines seem to align with celestial bodies, studies by astronomer Gerald Hawkins in the 1960s showed that only a small number of the lines matched key astronomical events. Although this challenged the calendar theory, many believe the lines hold symbolic astronomical significance. The Nazca culture may have used the lines to conduct rituals related to the solstice and season change, even if not all alignments are scientifically precise.
That checks out.
Yeah, it does. And this next one kind of tied into what I was saying earlier about how one of the set of lines looked like a plot, like a farmland. So this is, they're saying it is a water cult and has agricultural significance. Given the harsh desert climate, some scholars argue that the lines were part of a water-related belief system. Anthropologist John Reinhard proposed in the 1980s that the lines connected sacred sites that were part of rituals intended to invoke rainfall and fertility. The geoglyphs could have served as ceremonial paths walked during religious events tied to the worship of the mountain deities and the water sources, which is interesting because I will say an overwhelming number of these designs seem to be drawn with a single line.
Mm-hmm.
And what it makes me think of, so let me find one of these that's made with a single line.
Oh, even
Okay,
that spider is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So here's one where it starts. You see how it starts at the top, and you can follow that line, and it'll go through the whole pattern, and then
Right.
comes right back out where it started. It reminds me of meditation circles.
Mm,
Have you seen these?
okay. Yeah, that you walk the maze that's within the circle.
Yeah. Let
Mhm.
me pull one up. Let me see. Meditation. I've always called them circles.
Yeah.
Yeah. Here we go. Here's what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
Designs like these. So you'll see a lot of these in like gardens. So they'll
Mhm.
build gardens in these designs, and the intent is you you follow them, and it's part of a meditative process. So, like you'll actually see a lot of these, like this one,
Yeah.
um, outside. So think of outside the hospital in Fayetteville. They have one of these.
Do they?
Yep, and they
Hmm.
call it the meditation garden. And there's like a little plaque there. If you read it, it says, "This is the meditation garden. You start at the entrance with a problem, and you think on that problem while you follow this simple path. And by the time you reach the exit of the garden, you'll have worked your way through the problem and come to a solution to your problem."
Hmm.
So this feels like Nazca lines to me. It just in a different form. It's what it seems
Okay.
like to me. That's where my train of thought goes. So
I
I can
mean,
see how some of this is religious, and then that could, easily be translatable, right?
yeah,
So
and if you're talking about a whole culture participating in this, you might want something that was large enough that a very large group of people could walk it at once,
sure. So
right? Or
imagine
while performing some ceremony.
100 people in a row chanting, beating drums, killing
Yeah,
cattle, what have you. Um,
what have you.
or yeah, and then there's the runaway. We'll get to that. We'll get to that.
Just
um,
everybody out there ritualistically steaming carrots, you know?
so the last of the realistic theories is artistic and cultural expression. More recent interpretations, such as those of Marcus Rendell, suggest that the lines were symbolic expressions of community, myth, and identity. They have functioned like storytelling tools or spiritual roadmaps. The theory views the lines as complex cultural artifacts, part performance, part landscape art, and part social unifier. So, another thing that kind of ties into Eastern theories is you've seen the Buddhists that do the mandalas, or not the
Right.
mandalas,
The sand mandala.
yeah, yeah. And
Yep.
then
Couple
once
grains of
they're
sand at
done,
a time. Dump
once
it.
oop,
Yep.
once they're done, they just it
Dump it in the
zero
river.
attachment. Yeah.
Yep.
And well, now it's they'll dump it into a big bag and then they bag it out
Oh
and
yeah,
sell
and
it
they
to
give it to
tourists.
people. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right. Yeah, and they used to do one in Indianapolis every year, and there'd be a whole ceremony at the end of it because they did it at a modern art museum, and I think it's the White River
Hmm.
runs through Indianapolis, and so right out back of the museum they had a section of the river preserved instead of being a viaduct. Right, it was still the river, and
Right.
they'd go out there and dump it. They
Oh.
still do one every year here. They have a school of Tibetan studies here
Hmm.
at U of A,
Yeah.
and once a year they still do a big, fairly big. I mean, it's like 3 foot across sand mandala in the library,
Oh, cool. That's
and they
cool.
even actually teach you how to do it. They have another one next to where they're doing it, where you can do a couple, try to do a design on it
Right.
and try to work on it. I remember going and looking at theirs that they were doing, and like you look at pictures of them from above, and you're like, oh wow, like they laid them all out. Like when you look at it up close, like the ridges, some of them are like this high, and then have like layered stuff with more stuff on top of it. So when you look at it at the side, there'll be like temple walls and stuff like that, like on the
Yeah.
inside. You can't see when you look at it from the top. I'm like, no, I'm good. I just want to watch you guys. I'm good.
Yeah,
This is
it's really interesting. So this actually answers a question that I had at the beginning, was where did the rocks go that they moved aside for the big designs? Who's to say they didn't get carried away by believers?
ah right. Yeah, that's not a bad idea. And I do see in some cases I do see some ridges
Yeah,
on the sides of some of these designs. Like
like
that
that
one's
one.
obviously in relief, right?
Yeah.
They moved some and stacked them up other in other places. And along the, I mean, I'm going to keep calling it a runway because that's what it looks like. Along the runway, there's walls
Yeah.
running along either side of it. So,
So it makes you wonder
but yeah,
if
they might have taken them away with them.
like maybe here's a theory for you. Maybe early on they didn't have many believers and this was a ritualistic thing like the sand mandala,
Hmm.
and they started off with simple designs and only a few people were taking rocks away, and as it grew with popularity the designs got more complex, more people came, more people carried rocks away, and eventually the empire started to die off, and then the designs become less complex again, less people carrying them away. So we have, you know, an arc of people taking stones away. So we have like primitive early ones that aren't clearly defined up to the really nice ones, and then back down to right before the empire just dissolved. Um, idea.
Was this an
It's
empire?
I'm calling it's the Nazca Empire is what we're calling it.
Well, I'm saying, I mean, like, so like the Mayas and the Incans, we see like all sorts of networks of roadways and stuff hidden in, overgrown in the jungle and construction. So we know, and we have a relative idea of the population because the Spaniards came, right? Saw. So I wonder what they think the population of the Nazca were that they could be doing this sort of thing.
Well, let's find out. I have a computer in front of me. Oh, oh, cable. What was the wrong keyboard? This is my life. What was the estimated peak population, would you say?
Yeah, try that. They may
Population of the Nazca people. They're saying at its peak, somewhere between 800 and 100 BC, they were about 25,000 people.
Okay, that's
The maximum population estimated to have been around 25,000 people. They lived in small villages, often placed in terrace hillsides near foothill plains.
okay.
They extended their influence to the Pisco Valley, north of the Kari Valley in the south. And the civilization probably ended due to environmental changes, possibly massive flooding, ironically.
Yes.
So
Yes.
it's
ironic.
Yeah, maybe they were water worshippers. Oh, they worshipped a little too much.
Yeah, too many lines. Too many lines.
Too many doodles in the desert.
Did it too well.
Yeah. I'm sorry, you prayed too hard. You have to die now.
You have to die now.
You have to die. Man, Mark, you're sure to play me guitar, man. It's too bad you have to die. Huh? Yeah. Was it Empire Records?
I think so. Yeah, he's tripping.
Or he eating
Yeah.
ate the brownies, the pop brownies?
Yeah.
And he's playing with guar.
You have to die. Yeah, it's guar. Yeah, it's guar on the TV. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
I forgot about
Man, Mark, you sure to play mean guitar, man. He's like, yeah, that's too bad. You have to die. Huh?
that. What?
And then the big maggot comes from backstage and swallows him. Ooh. Yeah, those were good times. Empire Records. I haven't watched that one in a long time. Jeez.
Probably because it came out a long time ago.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, don't remind me.
It's probably because we're old.
Because we are old, yeah. So, now we've come to my favorite part.
Funny
go
that
ahead.
we
What were you going to
collect-
say?
Well, I was gonna say it's funny that we collect vintage things. I think we're not far away from being vintage.
Oh, no, you're right.
We're older than the things we collect.
Yeah, I can't stand that the younger kids today are like, as a way of trolling older folks now, they're like, what was it like being alive in the 1900s?
Oh yeah, I've heard that. The first time I heard that, I was like, I mean, I guess that's technically correct.
Yeah.
Be like, what's it like getting a panic attack without your phone?
Oh my gosh, right?
That's my question to them. What's it like knowing you would break down if you didn't have your smartphone?
I say as I touch my phone.
I mean, we're all dependent on them, but I'm just saying, I do still have skills from before I had them, and I do know how to function without one. But for a generation that grew up and literally had them when they were 5 because their parents put their iPad, to keep their kids quiet in the back seat, I'm like, I mean, just think for a minute. Just think about your day without an iPad.
Yeah.
I can see you twitching already. How's that feel?
Like I can, like one of the guys at work gets on to me. He's like, "You're always looking at your phone." I was like, "Yeah, because my wife and I message all day." He's like, "Well, you're at work. You need to be on your phone." I was like, "Look, if my wife messages me, I'm going to look at my phone. You can get mad all you want. That's my wife. I love my wife, unlike you, sir.
I guess my answer to what was it like growing up in the 1900s, like, well, I happen to know that everybody from my generation still knows that 911 is the emergency number.
Yes. Yeah. And we know where the 11 button is.
And I know where the 11 button is, so.
Yeah, I don't want to say too much on it because no, I take that back. I was looking at our demographics for our viewership. Nobody under the
Oh.
age of 30 is watching this podcast.
Yeah, that checks out. That checks out.
So,
That's fine. That's fine.
hey,
That makes a lot of sense, actually. Makes a lot of sense.
I was looking for a clever sound to play, but I guess I don't really have one.
Because all the cool kids were born in the 80s. Just saying.
Yep. That's right. Or later.
Or later.
later.
I mean, my sister was
later.
born in the 90s. You know, she's the last gasp of the millennials.
Oh gosh, yeah.
She's the last year of the millennials, and I'm we're like the first. So,
Yeah, this last year was the 20-year anniversary when I graduated.
You know what that means too. If we're the first, we're the first year of millennials, that also means we're sort of the bleed over of Gen X.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which kind of makes a lot of sense, zero supervision, allowed to play with knives and fireworks, explosives and gasoline, had to let ourselves into the house after school on our own, told to get out of the house, go ride your bike, and then the only restriction on how far you could go with your bike was how far you could ride your bike.
Yeah.
That was my limit from the house, was however far I could ride my bike. You could get you can get really far on a bike as a kid because you have all the energy.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I remember a few times riding my bike to my buddy's house, which was really close to Detroit. And then I would get home and tell he's like, "Where have you been?" I'd be like, "Oh, I was over at homeboy's house." He's like, "Doesn't he live like way over?" I was like, "Yeah." So
Determination and two wheels. Do a lot.
Yeah, I had like two friends growing up, so it was either sit here alone and listen to the radio and make mixtapes, or go to one or two friends' house. So
I
both of
remember
them were way away.
pre-teenager, a buddy of mine, our favorite game was Let's Go Play with Gasoline. Like, that was literally a game. Yeah, that was a thing that we did in the woods. Let's go play. Let's grab your dad's weed eater gas can.
Yeah.
Or all the other things you can do with CO2 containers besides put them in the pellet gun.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember finding a lot of those when I was a kid. There was a bunch of like parks that they were so large that when you were in the park, you never saw anybody. But you would go and there were like telltale signs of people that have been there. And there was this one park, there were always empty CO2 cartridges like around a baseball field.
Were they CO2 cartridges?
Pretty sure.
Are you sure they weren't Whippet cartridges?
It was the 90s, man. It's hard to say.
Because we had piles of Whippet cartridges later.
Oh, well, it might have been. I don't know.
There was a party at my house one time. A buddy of mine figured out that instead of going to the head shop to buy nitrous in the little containers, by like a 20-pack thing, he found a Chinese distributor on eBay that would sell you a pallet at a time.
Oh gosh.
A pallet. This deep, 2 foot deep, pallet size for like a grand. For like a grand, which was worked out to like less than 2 cents a cartridge.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he was like, "Hey man, I got a bunch of these left." So he would throw parties where he'd charge you like, you come to the party and you can buy like a box at the party, like the little 20-pack box for like half the price of what they were at the head shop.
Yeah.
And then we had these the gourmet whipped cream canister, but you just fill it up with 4 crackers, and then you have a little trigger operated NOS can, right? So he came over with his truck, because that's what he had the pallet moved onto at the shipping depot, and then he didn't have any way to get it off. So he just rolled around with the thing on the back of his truck, and he came over, and he was just like, whatever, have at it. And so in the morning, there was more silver than not in the house. Geez. Yeah, no, every surface. Every surface.
I don't think it was nitrous, honestly. because we would, like me and my buddies, we'd be riding our bikes around and we'd see them, and there'd be like maybe 20 on the ground. Just seemed weird. I don't know.
I mean,
Then at the flip side of that coin is, what's a great place to get high, but in a park in the middle of the night.
a lot of people do it.
That close to Detroit, the cops did not patrol the parks.
Yeah,
No.
see? There you go.
Yeah.
I guess it's better than Metro Indianapolis, where you just find 20 rigs laying around.
Oh, jeez.
An alleyway.
Yeah. You didn't see any of that where I was at. Strangely enough,
use Band-Aids and dirt and rusty rigs. I got you. I got everything you need.
gross.
2 tips: Band-Aids and rusty rigs.
Get him here. Get him here. So, are you ready to get into the paranormal aspect of the Nazca lines?
Yes.
I think this is why we've really come.
This is why we came. We had to get the other part out of the way.
Yeah, we had, for the sake of transparency, we had to cover the scientific part. We got to be as objective as possible.
Be like, what about the people doing it? Yeah, we know.
Yeah, people did it.
We know. People did use their hands and do it. It's not the point.
Yeah. We're going to get to the paranormal roots of this. So, the first is the one that you were probably expecting. And it is titled The Ancient Astronaut Theory.
Ancient astronaut theorists propose.
No.
Yes.
I'm not saying it's space aliens, right? But it goes without saying it's freaking space aliens.
It's a good one. See, that plays, that
That
works so well on the podcast now. So, yes, we are talking about ancient aliens.
Astronaut theorists propose.
Ancient astronauts. So, one of the most famous paranormal explanations for the Nazca lines is the ancient astronaut theory.
Ancient astronaut theorists propose.
Proposed by Eric von Däniken, which is one of the recurring hosts of Ancient Aliens.
He was the
Ancient
first
astronaut theorists
guy.
propose.
Yeah,
He was the first guy to really write a book on
Yes.
ancient alien theories.
He was the guy who coined the words together, ancient astronauts. Chariot of the Gods. That was the first one. Everybody's read Chariot of the Gods. That was the first book that he wrote that got popular. And he is the leading ancient astronaut theorist. He is the guy that they built this entire wonderful television show around.
He's probably the only one with an actual science background.
He is. The rest of them were just like, hey, this is really cool. Put me on your show. I got crazy hair.
Right.
Look.
Yeah. He's the only one. He's the only one that's actually a professor.
Yeah. Definitely the only person with any type
From
of
a university
formal
you would know. Yeah, from a university you could look up.
Yes. So Eric von Däniken, in his book from 1968, Chariot of the Gods, he suggested that extraterrestrials either created the lines or inspired the Nazca people to do so. Von Däniken pointed to the massive size, geometric precision, and visibility from the air as evidence that the creators must have had aerial capabilities. Supporters often refer to the straight lines as trapezoidal shapes as potential runways for alien spacecraft. Let me pause on the freaking picture. This is the one we've been talking about since we started. The runway. One of many that we saw them on Google Maps when we started. Some even suggest the animal figures could be symbolic messages or identifiers used in communication with spacefaring beings, although this theory is widely dismissed by scientists and archaeologists as pseudoscience. It remains as a staple of documentaries and speculative fiction, and it continues to fascinate those who believe in ancient civilizations had contact with visitors from the
I'm
stars.
not saying it's space aliens, right? But it goes without saying it's freaking space aliens.
It's aliens. Absolutely aliens. Yeah, here's one more. So yeah, this guy is the reason we think that this is a runway. Eric
Mhm.
von Daniken. He is the largest foothold in the ancient astronaut theory, and he is the one that he was the first one to say this looks like a runway. Now, I will say there is a strange precedent here because up until the 30s, people didn't even know that these were here. They knew that there was some weird stuff in the ground, but they couldn't even see them. So this is the clincher with this entire, subject is how were they able to make these designs that were only visible from the air?
Right. People couldn't even recognize them from the ground.
Right. Even getting on the mountains next to this plateau, you couldn't see these.
Which
So,
makes you wonder in the utility as a ceremony, right? Like even let's say that with surveying, with fairly mundane surveying equipment, right? You could recreate these. You and I could go out in a field. I mean, I don't want to do an experiment where we make one a mile in
right,
size, but you can with a grid system. Like the way we do it to do a mural, right? Divide
right.
it into boxes and then make that line in the box and so on. You could divide up a grid system, and you could remake something large that you can't tell what it is from the ground.
Hmm.
But the question would be, what's the utility in that? If
Right.
other believers and followers can't ever see what it is, even though the guys who made it know what they made it from, right? Like they're like, this is the spider line, right? They know it because they made it, but you can't prove it to anybody.
Right.
Like nobody else that wasn't there when you made it would ever know because you can't ever see it in its entirety. So it makes you wonder what the utility would be for just a ceremonial purpose. Generally,
Right.
most ceremonial things have a striking appearance.
Right. Yeah,
So
absolutely.
yeah, so that is interesting that nobody even noticed them until the 30s
Yeah,
when
because
they were flying over them.
that's when people started flying. Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
when they were flying over them. So I see his point.
So, which brings us to our next paranormal excuse, paranormal belief.
Belief.
Uh, a less extraterrestrial but still paranormal idea is that the lines were created as messages to the sky gods. The Nazca, we'll come back to the sky gods thing. The Nazca may have believed their gods resided in the heavens or could view the earth from above. Therefore, the figures, especially animals tied to fertility, nature, or creation myths, were intended to honor the deities or seek their favor. This theory fits with a broader shamanic and animalistic belief system where nature and the cosmos were interconnected with divine beings. In this view, the lines could be likened to the sky written prayers or spiritual offerings. The scale of the geoglyphs may have been a reflection of their spiritual ambition to make themselves seen and heard by the divine. So this kind of plays into what we were talking about earlier.
That makes some sense.
It has the same vein as we're going to do this as a ritual, kind of like the sand mandalas.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't help but feel like maybe this was some of these designs were designed was ayahuasca a thing in Peru?
I don't, not in this section of Peru. I mean, yes, but not in the arid climates of Peru. So ayahuasca is a
The jungle. Yeah.
tropical jungle vine. Uh, and it's funny that we call it ayahuasca because that's what they call the vine, right? The vine of souls.
Right.
But the ayahuasca is the MAOI. It's not the DMT producing plant that's actually making the visions. So, but yeah, I mean, yeah, it was a South American thing, but not really in this area, and it's not really one of those things you can make and then travel with. It doesn't really preserve well.
Hmm.
It's kind of you brew it at the time and you drink it at the time
Right.
kind
Because
of
I
thing.
can't
So
help but
I don't know.
I can't help but feel like some of these designs are a little meandering.
And some of them aren't.
Like
It seems
like
like eras
like we could
of making them.
yeah,
Like this
like
looks psychedelic. This one
yes,
right here.
this is what I'm
This
saying.
looks
Like
like, yeah, This looks
Like
like the
this-
art of the Shimpibo shamans, and the Shimpibo shamans are an ayahuasca culture, and their
Right.
artwork looks very much like this one that you have pulled up. Very like, a lot of linear geometry
Angular,
and
yeah.
repeating, angular repeating stuff. It's very glyphic, like you would think of as glyphs, hieroglyphs, that sort of thing. All their artwork is very, very similar. But some of those other wiggly ones, yeah, you're right. They don't look so much like that.
Like this seems very. I keep using the word meandering because it's not perfectly symmetrical. Like they had an idea what they wanted to do, but almost like they were wandering as they were tracing it out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, let's see if we've got any others that are kind of in the same vein. I mean, obviously somebody.
Yeah, that one's a little rough. That was a little rough. That one doesn't look as well thought out.
This is
It
the
doesn't look
guy
like
that,
it's as big either, but it doesn't look
No,
as well
no.
thought out.
yeah, and this is like what you said with the eras. It seems like eras, which
Yeah, it
ties
seems
into
like
what
a
it said at the
different.
beginning. Like maybe at the beginning they were simple like this, and as time went along and more people believed, the design slowly got more intricate and more perfect. And then
Because
as
that spider one is almost a mirror.
yeah, that's wonderful.
I mean, it's very good
Yeah.
and much bigger than that figure. Based on the the look of the ground around it, it's much bigger.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's just something to think about. It's just, my mind kind of rambles sometimes, but it is a good point. The ayahuasca thing, I feel.
Yeah, and that's not to say that there wasn't some sort of psychedelic here, because again, if you're talking about a culture that disappeared because of a change in environment,
Right.
right? So, great example, mushroom cults across Europe disappeared because agriculture changed the abundance of mushrooms. Middle East too changed because of the change of the climate, and so they disappeared. So now you don't find them just around.
Right.
And so that's not to say that there weren't any, especially if we're thinking that the environment and the climate was much different at one time. There's a big problem in lower South America of desertification, post rampant logging.
Right.
And you had the desert creeping out from the coast up towards what was traditionally thick forest along the base of Patagonia, that's just disappearing because they let people rampantly log it without any sort of check, and it's changed the environment. So again, you could have had a culture that did something similar. That was one of the things. I can't remember if it was the Inca or the Maya, but they used a lot of mortar in their buildings, and mortar pre-industrial age generally required the ash of trees
Right.
as a major component. And so they think that actually a lot of that tropical forest is actually relatively new, because they think that they clear cut massive amounts of it just to be able to make the amount of mortar that they see. So I think that it used to look much different. So you may have had, an environmental change caused by themselves.
Could you imagine? I think about this kind of stuff all the time. A society, 200 BC. How are we going to stick these two rocks together to build something? And somebody accidentally spills ash in a pile of mud and straw. Oh, well, this works. Like, what was the conditions that brought that about?
Yep. And then somebody figuring out that cooking down limestone to make coke.
Yeah.
Right, cooking it down on a hot fire to make I guess it's potash is what you're making. A component in even more both for agriculture, for acid soils, right? If you have soil that's anywhere near granite mountains, the soil is incredibly acidic, won't grow anything. Big problem in England, in the Highlands. and then you also have another mortar maker or pottery maker. You know, how did somebody come up with that?
Right.
You know, without.
Like we know the story of how soap came to be. Thanks, Chuck Palahniuk.
Oh, right. Yeah,
Yeah,
the bodies.
because there was a cemetery on a hill,
Yeah.
and after heavy rains, they would wash their clothes in the river below the cemetery,
And
and
they get
found
much
that
cleaner.
they found their clothes became much cleaner because of water runoff from a cemetery, and that's how
Mhm.
lye.
Lye mixed with fat.
Yeah.
Yeah, they dump lye on bodies, and then lye mixed with fat makes
Yes, there
soap.
we go. Yes.
Yeah. Any
Yep.
fat. It can be
Any
people
fat.
fat.
People fat.
Any
We
fat.
learned that. We learned that in Fight Club.
Yep. Fight Club. Thank you.
First
Thank you, Chuck.
first rule of Fight Club is we don't talk about Fight Club.
How to make soap from people and get blood out of piano keys.
That's right. Yes, yes. Talcum powder.
Yeah, talcum powder.
Talcum powder. I remember. Well, I just listened to the audiobook a few weeks ago. Still wonderful. Absolutely wonderful book. All right. So this brings us to our third paranormal theory behind the Nazca lines. Stargates and portals to other worlds.
Ooh.
Uh-oh. Oh, my video froze. Okay,
there you go. Yeah, you're back.
Ooh, I got scared for a second there. Ooh. Some theorists suggest the Nazca lines are portals or stargates. Energy points on the Earth used for communication with other dimensions or worlds. According to this theory, the figures were created at powerful energy centers or ley lines and act as key signals to activate these supernatural passageways. This concept is rooted in New Age beliefs and draws from an ancient mythology, science fiction, and quantum mysticism. The geometric shapes and the recurring motifs are interpreted as symbols of sacred geometry with cosmic resonance. Believers argue that the Nazca lines are part of a global network of stargates that includes sites like the pyramids of Egypt, Stonehenge, offering metaphysical view or of ancient architecture.
So what do people think ley lines are? And how do you determine where one is?
That's a really, really good question. I think it has to do with magneticism. Is that the word I'm looking for?
Magnesis.
Magneticism. Let's look it up. How are ley
Because I've
lines
only ever heard
determined?
loose explanations of it that don't actually explain it at all.
Ley lines are a concept rooted in pseudoscientific and New Age thought, are theoretical invisible lines that are believed to connect significant landmarks and possess sacred energies. While there's no scientific evidence to support their existence, some believe they can be found by connecting ancient sites and other features. They are considered energy highways and are invisible.
That's convenient.
Geez, yeah, it's those who believe in ley lines often connect ancient sites, churches, wells, and other features on maps to create lines. There you go.
Okay. So they're saying here's these three significant things that all lay on a single line
Yeah,
around the earth. So if
yeah,
you follow that line, you'll find other significant things.
correct.
Kind of. Okay.
They say
Okay.
feeling the energy. Some claim to be able to sense or feel the energy of ley lines, often at their intersections. Landmarks are positioned as connected by ley lines, including Stonehenge, pyramids of Giza, Machu Picchu, and Ayers Rock in Uluru. So, like, I know that there are in Rome, ley lines are paved through the streets,
Really?
and I feel like this is the deepest rooted version of the ley lines because it has the most historical references. However, what they are marking in the cities of Rome is underground water, M- specifically
Ah.
specifically running water.
Okay. Okay. That makes sense.
So you can go to Rome today. Closer you get to Vatican City, the more prominent they become.
Mm-hmm.
Markings on the pavement with physical markers with writing on it and say something parallel ley line.
Okay. Okay.
And then you could trace those ley lines around the globe, and you'll intersect major historical and archaeological key points.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
However, apparently there is no baseline definition of how to determine
Okay.
these things. However, in Rome, they were used to locate underground water, specifically underground rivers, is what I mean to say.
Okay. Okay, that makes sense.
Because as we knew from uh, previous investigations, we knew that limestone would hold energies, and we know that moving water holds energy.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm assuming they're believing that moving water is more holds more energy than limestone would.
Right.
So I mean,
Maybe.
it's life. It's life giving. You know what I mean? Where are you going to be
Right.
without water?
Right.
So it's hard to say.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm not a
I was
professional in
just
ley line.
curious. I was just curious because I've heard that said about the Nazca lines before. That much of it lines up with ley lines that can be connected around the world, and I was like, okay, so how do you find said ley lines to know this? But that makes more sense.
Oh my
They're
gosh!
connecting major historical landmarks.
All right, so let me stop this. So I just googled this. I'm gonna pull it up in here so you can see. Ley lines.
Oh well, shit. So it's just everything.
So I mean, yes and no. Here's
That makes more sense because that's not unlike how the magnetic field or the magnetosphere moves around the Earth.
right.
Right. The ionosphere, which is what makes the northern lights.
Right.
Radiation bouncing off the ionosphere. So that right there makes more sense to me.
Okay, so look, we
Also,
actually
it
have
has a repeating pattern.
so Nazca is actually here. So here's Nazca. It's marked
Uh-huh.
on a ley line.
Uh-huh.
Machu Picchu is here as well.
On another one. Okay.
Easter Island.
Okay.
The
Okay.
pyramids of Giza, smack dab in the middle of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 ley lines.
That's why the pyramids had to be so big.
Yeah, and then there's a couple others. I don't know how to pronounce these two, but cool.
Makes you wonder what that is in the United States. Well, it looks like
Right?
New Mexico, but
Yeah, I think that's somewhere in Mexico. Well, I mean,
looks like
could
New
be
Mexico.
yeah, it could be somewhere. I can't really zoom on this one.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
it says scale 350 million.
Well, yeah, because it's the whole thing.
Depends on how far you zoom out, I suppose.
It's the whole thing.
Yeah. But that's cool. I mean, although to be fair, all this fuss about ley lines, and we only highlighted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them.
Yeah.
Come on,
Yeah.
people.
Well, that other, if you go by that other map, it's probably a whole lot more.
Yeah. Yeah,
Just
we
a
go
million
by.
running through the U.S. alone.
Here you go.
There you go. See, but that too somewhat has a geometry to it, like a repeating geometry to it.
Oh, look at this concentration. You know what that is?
The
Bermuda Triangle.
Bermuda Triangle, yeah. We haven't done
Yeah.
a Bermuda Triangle episode.
We haven't. Should we do that next week?
Yeah. That sounds
Okay.
good.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm
A
game.
lot of goofy stuff in that one.
Tons of goofy stuff. So yeah, here's an old ley lines map. That's not really a good one.
Can't really see anything.
There you go.
Oh my god. Oh, that's ridiculous. Come on. Come on.
Yeah, you might as well just paint
Oh,
the
no,
whole
no,
thing.
that's
at that
not.
point.
Dude, did you see that local
Local map of
UA2W?
UAW.
Yeah, it's a connection lines traffic map.
Oh well, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, ley lines.
Well, here you go. Here's
U.S. interstates, ley lines.
Oh no, I didn't mean to do that. I meant to do just the picture. Open image in new tab.
It's this big.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's the size of a stamp.
Glastonbury and Stonehenge. But again, I'm like, so how did you pick those lines? It looks like you just went
Yeah.
around the border in any prominent uh
Yeah.
inlet.
It
You
seems
just
like
made a point on that.
they built a castle here. There's a wall. Here's a gate. Here's a
Right.
structure. Here's a
There's a
tower.
well over there. Old McFeely's Wells over there.
But you do notice Stonehenge is an intersection of all of these. Oh, but this one was
Convenient.
nice. This one was nice enough to show the direction of the energies as well.
Oh,
Interesting.
it's the way they feel like they're going.
Yeah. So there's we
Ooh.
we could go way down this rabbit hole. We will choose not to today.
Ooh. Ley lines. I feel like
Sorry.
I almost feel like I imagine the guy that's up there giving a symposium on the validity of ley lines. I imagine the audience being like a bunch of little yellow guys from
From
Despicable Me.
Despicable Me, yeah.
Yeah. Oh my god, ley lines. Oh.
Oh. Yeah, interesting fact, all of the minions are voiced by two women. Two.
That explains why they all sound the same.
And they're like apparently they're good friends. So they
Mhm.
feed off of each other, like they catch their cues really easily. And they're able to just gibberish back and forth to each other really well.
That makes sense.
It's cool. Whoever picked those two as voice actors, way to go. Good job. You did good. You hit the nail on the head. So back to the theories. What are we on? We are on. Ooh. Okay. Hold, please, for dramatic effect. Time travelers' messages or markings.
Oh, yeah, it's reasonable.
Okay. So another paranormal theory holds that the Nazca lines were made or inspired by time travelers from the future. Advocates of this idea point to the fact that the geoglyphs are only visible from the air. Technology was not available until modern times, i.e., 1920s. This leads to speculation that beings with access to advanced knowledge may have visited the past and left the lines as landmarks and messages or artistic works. Some even propose that the lines serve as coordinates or beacons usable only by those with specific futuristic technology. While there is no direct evidence for time travel, the strangeness and grandeur of the Nazca lines provide an appealing backdrop for imaginative possibilities. So while we're talking about time travel, I got to say something, and I'm so sorry for Stephen Hawking. Bless his little heart. Dude
He's
was
not
a
around
genius.
anymore.
He's
Yeah.
not. I know.
You don't have to apologize to him. He's not here anymore.
I know. I just bless his heart. This guy literally advertised a dinner party for time travelers, and this was his way of determining whether time travel was real or not. Made a huge thing, put ads in newspapers all around the world. Time traveler dinner party, and it was just him and the people catering the event. And he sat there all night long by himself. Poor guy. I feel really bad about it, but this was, this is the way Stephen Hawking would try to figure if something was true or a theory. Was he would say, this is a definitive way that we could decide whether something's true or not. And when it came to the concept of time travel, he said, I know what's going to prove it's true or not. I'm going to have a dinner party and only time travelers are invited. And I'm going to advertise the hell out of this thing. So he advertised it everywhere, all along the world. So he knew there was a historical record of him having a dinner just for time travelers. And he theorized that if anybody showed up, they were a time traveler.
So, two possible reasons why nobody showed up. Either A, in the future, everybody hates Stephen Hawking for some reason, so all the time travelers. Besides, three reasons. B, they knew that he serves terrible food, so they're like, "What's the point?" He's serving fancy shrimp cocktail. Who cares? I can get that anywhere.
Yeah.
We have more shrimp now than you had in the past.
Yeah.
Or 3, they did come, except when you time travel, you make a branch in time, and so they're there attending his dinner party by the thousands in the branches in which they went back. But in our timeline, they didn't show up because that's not how time travel works.
Okay, I'm gonna give you that last one. That one seems the most feasible. Yeah,
I don't know.
they
Some
all-
might come out and people might hate Stephen Hawking in the future. I don't know. We're not
Yeah.
in the future.
Unfortunately, I think his name was on the Epstein list.
Ooh, see? There you go.
Yeah.
The
yeah.
future hates Stephen Hawking, though he was brilliant. That's all anybody will remember.
Yeah. But yeah, I like your idea that maybe they all did show up, but by them showing up, it created an alternate timeline. Very
Yeah, because
nicely
that's the
done.
only way to avoid the time paradox issue, right?
Right.
If you can travel back, you are traveling back, but you're traveling back and it's already passed. The time is already passed, but you can wind back, affect it, and not have a time paradox because time is branching. Decisions and changes are infinite, and therefore
Right.
there's one where people did come.
Yeah.
But you're not
Wow.
going to know it. Yeah.
Wait, good job. Hold on, wait. I got a sound for that.
So probably so many people came, he had no more cocktail shrimp left.
Yeah.
And Stephen Hawking went with them, and he wasn't in a wheelchair anymore.
Yeah, they fixed him in
They
the
fixed
future.
it. Yeah, they fixed it. They came back and like, I mean, you threw a dinner party for us. Have some of our nanobots. It's cool.
I can imagine it's just
I got one in my pocket. I got a nano injector in my pocket. Here, you can have it. They're open source.
I'd like to think that as soon as he regained his ability to move around and talk, he jumped up out of his chair and was immediately like, "Oh my God, somebody scratched my back."
I've had this itch for 30 years.
30 years I've been trying to tell him to scratch my back, but the computer kept giving them quantum mechanics instead.
Yeah, every time I typed it in, that jerk ass who programmed all my data software had it come in saying, "I want raisins." What an ass! I had this itch forever, and then you actually get to hear what Stephen Hawking sounds like.
Yeah, but
Instead,
I mean,
hello, Rich. It's none of that.
yeah, I think there are some like videos of him. Yeah, there's like there are videos from the 20s or 30s. No, wait, how old was he? So like early videos. I think there's like 2 or 3 of him early in his career in astrophysics where he did give a speech and he was able to talk, but by then like what was it? Not Parkinson's. What was it that he had? Cerebral palsy?
I thought he had ALS.
ALS, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But you could see that it was affecting him. Like he was like trembling. He couldn't hold his papers very well. I seem to remember.
The weird thing is they AI regenerated his voice and offered to change his audio thing.
Yeah.
But he was like, it's an iconic voice, and honestly, it's the only voice I remember now. So no, it's fine. Just leave it.
Wild.
But yeah, they were like, we can make, and they actually have a program too now for other folks who also can't talk but can vocalize, but can't control their vocal cords to actually make words. They can take your vocal vibrations and give you a more authentic sound. Use that as the synthesis for the voice on your computer, and they can give you a person-sounding voice, something that would be closer to if you were able to talk. But that wasn't around whenever he got it. He got the auto-tune.
Oh yeah, the auto-tune.
The Autobot. Yeah.
Have you seen the have you seen that they recreated I think it was Ramses II, his vocal cords? Did you see that?
Oh, based on scans?
Yeah, so they recreated his vocal cords off of CT scans out of like a silicone rubber meshy thing and like recreated his throat, his vocal cords and his esophagus and mouth.
Oh, to find out what it would sound like?
And this was on the news. This is so bad. And I'm probably getting ready to disturb my wife because I'm about to scream really loud. So it was on the news and like this is what Ramses II really sounded like, and it showed like a close up of the synthetic mouth with the throat, and the mouth starts moving, and then it just goes like
What?
what? That's exactly what I
That's
said.
not good. Don't publish that.
It was
That needs
on the
more-
news.
That needs more refining.
It made it to the news and everything. I could not believe it. Like I had looked up like 2 or 3 other videos and everybody was showing the same clip, and it was just these synthetic mouth and vocal cords screaming. Like that is not his voice. This is a guttural cry of somebody dying. Why? Why? It was so bad. It was so bad. It was so
Can you
bad.
imagine them justifying their funding at the end of that?
Oh
For
gosh,
doing that?
it would have
You
been
know,
horrible.
some university funded that, and they'd be like, "No, it's just, it's very lifelike." See, he said, "Where is the wine?" It's very good. This is top notch.
Top tier technology. Obviously,
Top
he's
tier
screaming,
technology.
screaming, "Bring me a cheeseburger!"
And they're like, "You know, you're never getting any funding again." I know.
you're not getting a penny. Yeah, you're not getting a penny from us ever again.
I know.
And they sulk away into the corner and cry. Yeah, it was horrible. It was all over the news like 2-3 years ago. Oh, geez, I need to find that. I should post that on the Facebook page or something when I find it, because it was bad. Like a synthetic, like just the synthetic lips. Oh, and they were moving, and it had a little, and it's worse because it was all like silicone rubber, but instead of making it human flesh-like, it was white, just pure white.
That had the ick factor.
Yeah, and it was so bad. And like everybody in the news was like, "Oh, this is so amazing, incredible technology." And
What technology?
I could have screamed into a mic for you if you really just wanted to make something happen.
I mean, I guess I feel like Jim Henson could have done better.
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
Absolutely.
And
Better consulting.
he probably could have made it look a little bit better too.
Yeah, right.
Give it a face at least, not just lips and a chin.
And today we have Ramses the Muppet.
Yeah, Ramses, I'm thirsty too. Little delay on the punchline. All right, so we are down to the last paranormal theory behind the Nazca lines, and that is psychic or supernatural creation via telepathy or energy manipulation.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
So you took a spiral diagram and you were like plausible to whatever.
Yeah.
And so you started at the middle and we're working our way out.
Yeah, we started at the center, the most plausible, entirely paranormal, totally, we could make this first couple work, but we're at the end of it now, and it's like this is the stuff that we scraped off the bottom of the shoe of the paranormal investigators that were there at the Nazca lines. We could have moved these rocks with their mind. Sure.
At this point, we're at the Occam's razor is like that is at the honed edge of the 4-month-old razor that's been sitting in your shower.
Ooh, and rusty and gross.
Yes, yeah, that's where we're at.
With like 50 hairs stuck in the corner that you can't get out. Yeah.
I mean, I don't have a wife who leaves her, leg shaving razors in the shower, but based on memes I see, I assume that's the level we're at.
Yeah. This is the bottom of the barrel. It doesn't get any worse than this. You ready to hear this paragraph?
Yeah. I'm already loving it.
The first half of this sentence says it all. Perhaps the most mystical theory it suggests that the Nazca lines were not built physically at all, but were manifested through psychic energy. Yeah. So, according to this idea, ancient shamans or spiritual leaders entered altered states of consciousness and used telepathy, focused energy, or collective intent to shape the earth. This aligns with certain esoteric traditions who thought that as a force capable of influencing the material world. The lines, particularly the animal totems, are said to represent spiritual visions received during trance rituals. Uh, through this theory, though this theory is the hardest to test or verify, it speaks to the deep spiritual and symbolic nature of the Nazca culture, even if interpreted through mystical lens.
All
This,
right.
yeah, yep, that's it. That's all I got. That's
Gotcha.
my,
Okay.
yeah. So
Well,
that's the theory. So I've got a couple little things to finish off with. Let me rip through this right quick, and then we'll tear into this with our wonderfully pessimistic lenses we have on this evening. Um, so in recent years, modern technologies enabled researchers to uncover new insights to the Nazca lines. In 2019, a team from University in Japan, led by Professor Masato Sakai, discovered 143 previously unknown geoglyphs using drone imaging and artificial intelligence. Many of these new figures were smaller and more eroded, hinting at an even broader scope of line making activity across the region. Ground penetrating radar and satellite mapping also have helped archaeologists understand the construction methods and environmental context of the lines. Researchers like Marcus Rendell have connected specific geoglyphs with ritual pathways, religious centers, and even aqueduct systems, suggesting the lines were deeply integrated in Nazca life. And despite their endurance over the centuries, the Nazca lines face increased threats today. Urban encroachment, illegal mining, tourism, and vandalism are ongoing concerns. In 2014, a Greenpeace protest damaged the area. Greenpeace damaged the area.
that's like PETA opening a slaughterhouse. You guys are
r-
ridiculous,
right?
Greenpeace. Jeez,
They
get back on the
damage
boats and protest whaling or something.
they damaged the area around the most famous, the hummingbird geoglyph, prompting outrage and renewed focus on preservation. The the site was designated a UNESCO World Heritage Site in 1994, and both the Peruvian government and international organizations continue to fund protection and research efforts. New monitoring systems include using drone satellite tech to to authorities track damage and ensure the lines are preserved for future generations. And now we've come to conclusions. So
Conclusions.
I want to throw something out there that was not in the research, but you remember at the beginning, we were looking at the weird stray lines, the stray straight lines.
Yeah.
So there is scientific fact behind how those were created.
Okay.
It's twofold, two part, two fart.
Two
That's right.
part.
That's right, two fart.
We'll get a
Um,
two fart.
So there are quite a few lines, like we saw at the beginning of the episode on Google Maps, that are just one path, straight line across the desert in weird angles. So, two theories. The first one is wind erosion, and this is a phenomenon that we have seen all around the world. That in areas like this where there's little to no moisture, and all you have is high winds and rocks, over hundreds of thousands of years, the wind will move a rock just a little tiny bit every year.
Mhm.
And over the span of 1,000 years, you're going to get a quarter mile line. So that's how
That's like
some of
those stones that would be found to be moving in salt
yes,
flats, and they
yes,
found that it was rain and wind.
yes, same
Yeah,
same scientific structure behind that.
they would sort of
Uh,
smushy slide through it.
right. And the second most prevailing thing scientifically behind the Nazca lines, ironically, because this is a desert, is glacier movement.
Behind some of the the meander lines.
Yes. So there
Okay.
are lines that at the end of the lines they have found 2-3 ton boulders.
Oh, gotcha. So it was part of the glacier being scraped along the surface.
Correct.
Okay, that makes sense. You can see some pretty significant rock carving made
Yes.
by the movement of older, glaciers that don't exist anymore.
Right. And this is what they're giving credence to, some of the random straight lines. However, there are a very niche group of scientists that believe every one of these lines were created by glaciers. I think we've established that this is not a thing.
Yeah,
However,
I don't know about that.
something that wasn't really addressed in the research, but we've talked about it, is the overwhelming number of runways in the
Right.
desert here.
Right.
And so let's pull maps back up. Let's look at maps again. I think we're done with this slideshow. This same, 10 pictures over and over again. We're going to pull up these Nazca lines in Peru. All right, where's these runways? Where'd they go? They were over here somewhere, weren't they? There we go.
Yeah.
This looks nothing like anything that I can imagine except an airport.
Right. Right. Especially the way it has smaller lines aligned up with it.
Absolutely. I cannot imagine any other thing. Oh my gosh, look at the size of this one here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, geez. Oh, it connects to another one.
Connects to another airport with more radial
Oh.
lines radiating out from it.
Look,
So-
it's like a center.
So I saw a theory about considering the way these lines radiate out, right, and cross-sect each other and so on. So this landscape that these are across, right, this big open area,
Mhm.
is mostly featureless when you're on
Yes.
the ground, right? Be very hard to navigate and know where you're going other than by the sun. So if you're trying to reach something in particular in the midst of this landscape, it would be very difficult. Right. So
Correct.
one theory that I've seen is that all these lines, essentially, if you had a map of these same lines, you could use the intersections as a way to count and move to specific spots across this, basin that's mostly, devoid of landmarks. And that it was, this was a sort of highway system, not to make the
Right.
actual surface they were moving over easier, but to make the navigation of and meeting up of easier. Meeting up with other people in what was a fairly spread out group.
Right. So I agree with
Doesn't
you.
explain the runways, but
So this makes me think of is it the Sahara that has the weird like trail of camps across the entire desert that if you don't know where they are, you would just be lost in the desert?
you talking about the connecting oasis stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah, because they're sunk down, and if you don't know where they are, you'd never know where water is.
Right.
Yeah.
So piece of me thinks like, I mean, this is a huge desert. I
Yeah.
was trying to pull up the measurement thing.
Oh, to
And
see. Oh, to outline an area to tell you
yeah,
how big it is.
I could do it on my phone. I don't know how to do it on desktop.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's
You
hard.
have to actually pull up Google Earth. to do
Oh
that.
yeah.
Yeah, it's not
Yeah,
Google Maps. It's
okay.
Google Earth. You can do that on the computer.
We will do that another time. But look, I want you to pay attention to the list line right here. You see it, the big
Mhm.
one?
Mhm.
This one is visible from space, my friend. I could still
Oh
see it.
wow. Yeah. Yeah.
But looking at it, it's nothing more than, I could see tire tracks. This is just a trail. It's nothing more than a trail. So this is what makes me think some of these lines jutting straight across are, here is a safe way through. Follow
And
the
so a
trail,
lot of
you'll be
people used
fine.
it. Right.
Right. Yeah. So
Right. And if you look next to it where you were just zoomed in, you can see like okay, so go up Go up. So those lines right there through the desert, go back in. See how there's a bunch of other lines all cutting the same direction?
Yeah.
So some are not tires. This stuff along that feature to its, I guess on my screen it's the right of it. That looks like glacial movement. Right?
These ones here?
No, other side. Other side of the big line, and then go up. Go up a little. Okay, see how all that has striating lines all running in the same
Oh,
direction
yeah.
across the whole
I see
landscape?
it.
That is glacial movement.
Yes.
Right? That's where glaciers have plowed through in the same direction and made those. I get that. But you might also have had a furrow that started out as that, and then they just made a long straight road out of it.
Yeah.
See what I mean?
Yeah.
Because otherwise, if you try to travel the other direction across those ridges, it'd be a very arduous trip. If you travel through the ridges,
Yeah, it's
much easier. Much
it's a
easier
straight line from this green area to this green area.
Mm-hmm. Seems like herding migratory farming.
Yeah.
For seasonal stuff.
Or it seems like, hey, we got to go this way because here's the line, and then right here where the direction changes, this is
Right.
where they could see the green from there. They're like, oh, straight shot this way now, and they go to the closest green area. So
Right. So some of them I think are probably utilitarian. Also, at the head of that line, where the airport is, right? Or is that over a little bit?
yeah, it's here, just to the right of
Okay.
it, just to the east.
So I wonder if you already have people migrating across this harsh landscape.
Oh, look, there's a runway here.
Right. So I wonder if some of that isn't, if some of those aren't maybe like a spot for a
Oh.
yearly festival. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like where people meet up to trade goods from the growing season to the herding season or whatever it was that they were doing for food and sustenance.
I found a purple dot.
A purple dot.
It's purple. So we found a red dot and a purple dot in the middle of the desert. Oh, look, there's another runway. Geez, they're everywhere.
Yeah. And that almost looks like, I mean, I don't know how big of an area that is. Looks pretty big.
Oh yeah, I really wish I could just measure this, but
it seems like some of that's utilitarian and some of it's maybe a demarcation for where you're going to have, a meetup every year.
Right. Yeah.
Right? Kind of like what Stonehenge was, or what they think
Right.
Stonehenge could have been for. A making a landmark where there isn't really a landmark.
Right.
Right? So that everybody knows this is where we meet at this
Right.
time of year. So the first people to get there know, hey, this is where everybody else is going to end up. Otherwise you're like, yeah, no, it's a spot in the desert around the bend of the last rock that you saw in the desert. Like that is,
Yeah.
that doesn't work out very well.
But here is the clinching point. These are out in the middle of nowhere, so far away from any natural resource. Calorically speaking, does it make sense to be out in the middle of the desert for an extended period of time in this area?
Not really. So that does put a hole in it. Does
A big
put a hole in it.
That's a big butt.
So I thought it was interesting that one of the cultural explanations and one of the paranormal explanations overlap.
Yeah.
So one of the cultural explanations was, sending messages to the sky gods, right? Trying to make something big enough so that they could be noticed by the thing in the sky.
Yeah.
Hard to do on a rocky, mountainous landscape up there where all the green is. Easy to do on a big, open, featureless landscape, right?
Yeah.
To actually have it seen. We still see things in the sky, even right now, that people can't explain very well to us. I mean, there's several that we see that are easy to explain, but there's a lot that we see that people still can't explain, right? So we say UFOs and we say other things. I don't imagine that that's all new. Right? I don't imagine that things in the sky that you can't explain is all new. So, one could imagine that their sky gods were also, stuff in the sky they couldn't explain. More than just a belief that that's where their gods resided.
I'm going to try to find this airport right quick. This is the largest airport in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Well, It leaves a lot to the imagination. So let's go. Let's do side by side here. Let's pull up. Where is? Here we go. This is a good one. Oh, geez. Yeah.
Looks
I wonder if I
pretty
could.
similar.
Can I change? Yeah, that kind of helps. We could see some of the shapes. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Yeah, kind of
Like
similar.
if you could rotate the one on
Yeah,
to the right, rotate that to the same angle. Oh
yeah,
my
pretty
gosh.
similar.
Yeah. Yeah. These other shapes in between the runways.
Mm-hmm. It's got
It's
it too.
almost like they were just amalgamated for this one. Oh, geez. I can't help but think of anything other than a runway.
Yeah,
What purpose would you need something that large, that flat, and that clear for?
I mean, because I don't think you can argue that that was farmable land.
No.
You know.
Wow, they really said this is the largest airport in the world. Oh, it's by land area. Um, let's see what the largest airport in the U.S. is. We'll pull that up. Denver International. Nope, wrong keyboard. Whoop. Who's that? What? Raider? We just get raided? What? Oh,
Hello,
geez.
Raiders. Did your
Yeah, I didn't.
did your animation go
No,
off?
no, it didn't.
What?
I didn't get it. The window was open. What? What is up? Oh, geez. Oh, hold on. Hold, please. Welcome, friends. Oh, geez. Hef just rated us with 12.
Oh my
Soya's
God.
here. Let's see. Hef.
That's
Oh,
the
yeah.
most persons we've ever had person-wise.
Soya says that she keeps forgetting how to spell your name. It's Aon. Aon.
Yep. Like think like ion, like an ion, but just
Ion,
put an A in front of it.
but with an A.
But with an
Yeah.
A. Yeah.
Welcome,
Aeon.
friends. Jeez, wow, yeah. I had the stupid the freaking alert box open and everything, so I could hear it, and I didn't even hear it. Yes, AON. That's correct. We're having some trouble with speech chat this week, and he's not able to hear it. But I will translate anything I can.
Translator.
Yes, he is. I am the translator. Welcome,
Victus bot.
friends. Geez, welcome. Gosh, I'm so glad one of y'all finally said something. I have speech chat in my ears. He can't hear it. We're having trouble getting the audio with this most recent Discord update. Hello, friends. Geez, welcome. Wow, we've been sitting here rambling about the Nazca lines for the last 2 hours. Geez, welcome. Oh my gosh, I don't have a big fancy video to play like Hef does. Welcome. We are Beyond the Shadows podcast. I am Victus, as you know, and this is the
I'm
co-host.
Aeon.
Yes. Oh, geez, and ads just started, so now they can't even hear what we're talking about.
Of course. It's a bunch of
Ah,
people, so it was like money grab, money grab, money grab.
that's exactly what it was. 12 people just popped into
Algorithm.
the stream, run an ad.
Yeah.
Oh my
algorithm.
gosh. Yeah. I see Gideon is there. Yeah, but Gideon can't hear me because the ads. Ah, so Gideon says, imagine just changing your channel name and not telling anyone. Sorry, Gideon. I told a few people, but so few people came into my stream when I did stream. Uh, I have rebranded and now I do paranormal podcasting, and this is it. Soya says, is Paul out ghost hunting? And she also says, I'd like to think that Paul's secretly the biggest conspiracy nut ever.
he
Yeah.
just buttons it all up for the show. No, my husband is a very busy man. He, you know, you guys see us here on the podcast, and you know that he's a lawyer, but you cannot see the kind of lawyer that he is unless you see what our office is like. It's somewhere between big law and the emergency room of law. So people come in with an emergency immediately, and stuff has to happen really fast, really quickly, including on the weekends. Also, today he is showing houses that cost north of $1 million. And so, yeah, and they're ready to buy. So, it was, he's on the phone currently. Otherwise he would be in this room instead of in that room.
Yeah.
But that's, that's what his day's been like today. I, on the other hand, got to clean up a flood in the house because the house flooded again.
Again?
This is number 4. Is number 4.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
Yep,
It was less
yep.
this time. But
jeez.
and my studio wasn't in it, so that was good. This time, the first 3 times it was.
Yeah, kids, I don't really paint anymore. It dropped off. It's like it to the point where it was just eating money and not giving anything back. So yeah, it was just you're putting your whole heart into something that's not giving anything back. It's hard to keep doing it. So I quit doing that, and this just came up as an idea. One early morning when we were watching cartoons on Discord, or what were we watching? We were watching The Magicians one morning.
Yes. Yeah.
And my schedule changed. I got a new job, and now it's just me and Aeon here, and we talk about paranormal stuff, everything from ghosts to UFOs to this week we're talking about the Nazca lines. I'm glad y'all are here.
We do cryptids.
Yo, yes, we do cryptids. Yes, we do love our cryptids.
Also, I saw that awful dude. I didn't find a way to save it, but I saw that awful guy that remember had like the thing. He showed like the orange looking Yeti thing. You remember that video that